What's going on, everyone? So I did a video diving into Zach Lavine still being a possibility via trade, and then yesterday we got a report and update follow-up in regards to Chicago Bulls wanting Austin Reaves in a Zach Lavine trade, and the Lakers are not interested in trading Austin Reaves. So wanted to talk about the report, give my thoughts and opinions. Of course, I want to hear yours, so let's get right into it. So, per reports, the Lakers are not interested in including Austin Reaves in a trade package for Zach Lavine, per Jay Cowley. There has been whispers about the Lakers for over a year now, but a source said that the pieces that would have to be swapped don't fit. And Los Angeles remains steadfast that Austin Reaves isn't going to be included. So again, everybody wants Austin Reaves. He is the Lakers' best tradable asset because of his contract, his production, his way of play. Every person's or every team's point of contact is like, hey, what about Austin Reaves? And the Lakers have remained adamant that, hey, they're not trading Austin Reaves. That's for like a superstar package, right? Like Giannis becomes available and it's like, hey, if you give us Reaves type thing, right? Now, when it comes to Zach Lavine, right? Zach Lavine is the better player, without a doubt. And I've said before, like with DeJounte Murray last season, the team that wins gets the better player. Right? And I was like, hey, trade Austin Reaves and go get DeJounte Murray. However, I would not trade Austin Reaves in a trade for Zach Lavine. Why? Tyler, you just said Zach Lavine is the better player and that you would do a trade for a better player. But you don't have to. That's the difference. DeJounte Murray, there was a market. DeJounte Murray was a clear upgrade. It's something that the Lakers really needed, right? Other teams, as we saw, he ended up going to the Pelicans. Other teams were interested and involved, right? And it was a piece that you had to trade if you wanted to get him, right? If you wanted to get DeJounte Murray, you were probably going to have to trade Austin Reaves. Kyrie Irving, right? A couple seasons ago. If you wanted Kyrie Irving, you were probably going to have to trade Austin Reaves. Zach Lavine, on the other hand, you shouldn't have to, nor should you trade Austin Reaves because there's no real market, right? Now, there are rumors and murmurs about a Denver Nuggets and stuff like that, which, don't get me wrong, if Denver gets Zach Lavine, good luck, right? But it's one of those things I'll believe it when I see it, right? Lakers, I still maintain, are the best option, make the most sense, all of that for Zach Lavine. I think that there is still the potential of trading for Zach Lavine, but because there is no market, you shouldn't have to trade your best trade asset to go get Zach Lavine. Shouldn't have to give up first or anything like that. Again, they want to get off of Zach Lavine. Everybody from neutral reports to Chicago reports to Laker reports to every report in between have all said that Chicago may even be willing to give up assets. Now, Zach Lavine is having an excellent season, so there is the argument that it might have changed things. And also, based on reports, Chicago doesn't seem to want to take on long-term salary, right? It's one of the things that was reported in the potential Michael Porter Jr. package for Zach Lavine, that they didn't want to take on long-term salary. So if you're the Lakers, how do you get Zach Lavine, right? D'Angelo Russell isn't the problem because D'Lo isn't the long-term salary. But a Gabe Vincent, a Rui Hachimura, that would be long-term salary. Now, could you maybe find some teams that may have some interest, especially with the way that Gabe Vincent has been playing, right? Maybe a team is like, hey, we'll give you a $11 million expiring contract for Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent only has one more year next year. We could use a backup guard. Is there a team out there that might take Rui or might take a Gabe Vincent in order to pull off that trade? Or maybe like a Jared Vanderbilt. Some of these bad teams have, some expiring contract stuff. So maybe you could work something out. Maybe you could do a 3-team deal with, a Brooklyn. And maybe have like, Ben Simmons contract in the deal. And Ben Simmons goes to Chicago, and maybe the Lakers are sending the pieces to Brooklyn, and maybe you're getting a Dorian Finney-Smith in the trade or something. Right? There are options, is my point. There are ways, if you're creative and you want to make it work, you can make it work. There are teams out there, even if you have to give up an extra second or something like that, sure. And your argument would be like, hey, we're clearing the deck for you. Right? We're working it out to get off all the salary. Now, if you could get another piece, right? Like if you could get an IO in the deal, now you start kind of stirring the pot a little bit here. Or if you get like a first in the deal too, depending on what that first is, right? Like, could you get like a first in this year's draft? It's supposed to be a very deep draft, but I don't know if Chicago would want to do that, right? Because it'd kind of be the whole point of trading Zach Lavine. But I'm saying, like, if they really want like an Austin Reaves and you can get like an IO and a Lavine and then like a first or something like that. But again, would Chicago kind of go that far? Obviously, everything has a price. Everything has a cost. But I don't think you just trade. I always maintain that. For even the people that think like, oh, you just hate Austin Reaves. I don't hate Austin Reaves at all. I've never said anything that is inaccurate about Austin Reaves. So no one ever has a rebuttal to anything that I say about Austin Reaves. He's a very good role player. He's a role player though, right? He's not your third option. He's not. You're not winning a championship with Austin Reaves as your third option. You're just not, unless the other pieces around him are just that good, right? If the Lakers are able to kind of put the complementary pieces around everything, then yeah, maybe you can just through the collection, right? We've seen, guys like Giannis, where he was like the main superstar. Well, you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Or Jokic, where he was the main superstar. We got LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right? So there are ways to kind of make that work, but it's figuring out how to make that work and getting the complementary pieces. The only way I would trade Austin Reaves is if it's a piece that makes sense or it is that clear upgrade, like I mentioned, like with the DeJounte Murray. And what I mean by a piece that makes sense, let's say you did go trade for Zach Lavine. At that point, the need for Austin Reaves isn't as high. Right? If you can get that better piece that puts you over the top and just makes you a better overall team, then why wouldn't you do that, right? Like if you, for example, say Austin Reaves, Zach Lavine, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. What's better, that or a like healthy Bruce Brown, Zach Lavine, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis? A Bruce Brown, because he gives you that dirty work, the hustle plays, the point of attack defense, right? Rim running, all of that, right? Solid pick setter or screen setter. Like he's a guy that's won a championship. Right now you got that initiator. It makes more sense for the overall team to raise the ceiling higher rather than have this kind of redundancy again, like you had with D'Lo and Reaves, although Zach Lavine obviously would be a much upgrade over D'Lo. But the point is you'd still have this kind of redundancy defensively and whatnot, athleticism-wise with Austin Reaves, right? If you can get an athletic guard that can come in and be that point of attack, or if you get like kind of that long-term piece, right? Like for example, I've had people ask me, like, would you trade Austin Reaves for, like, a Walker Kessler? Me, personally, yes. Because it's easier to find another Austin Reaves type player, a guy that can just go get you buckets, than it is a elite defensive center that is, 23, 24 years old, and rebound, give you a double-double now, impact the game. Like, especially if you go get a Zach Lavine. Like if you told me you go get Zach Lavine and you could trade Austin Reaves for Walker Kessler, to me that's a no-brainer at that point. Because again, you got your Reaves replacement, and now you got a legit center for now in the next 15 years or 10 years or whatever, right? Like you're in good shape at that point, right? Austin Reaves is a very good player. I like Austin Reaves, but he's not this star that people make him out to be. He's not athletic. He's not this lockdown defensive guy. Right? He is a very good, but inconsistent at times, type of player and scorer. Right? He's a guy that you don't know what you're going to get on some nights. Is Austin Reaves going to be that, 40% from three, 50% from the floor type Austin Reaves and go give you 20 to 25? Or is he going to be that Austin Reaves that, yeah, he might give you 15, but he did it on, 17 shots or 18 shots, and he's 30% from the floor, right? Like that's not efficient, not good, right? Like people like to look at just the stat lines and go like, but he's 17, 5, and 5. Like, okay, yeah, but what is the efficiency? What is he doing on a nightly basis, right? You having, one night of 25 and then like 5 nights of, 11, right? Well, that balances out and equals, okay, so yeah, he's a 17-point-a-game guy, but he's not really, right? Like, it's the inconsistencies, and that's my problem with Austin Reaves. He's not a third option. If he's your 4th, 5th, 6th option, you're probably a really good basketball team. But as your third guy, right, especially with the other pieces around us, I don't think you trade Austin Reaves for Zach Lavine, though, right? I think if you have to trade Austin Reaves for Zach Lavine, I think you go elsewhere. And I think you just put the complementary pieces because you do want to save Austin Reaves for that right piece. And it's what I've always maintained. Right? I've always maintained you don't just trade Austin. Like I don't want to trade Austin Reaves for like a Dorian Finney-Smith. Like that doesn't make any sense. But if you can turn Austin Reaves either into that piece that just kind of completes the unit to now make you the best version possible, yes. Or if you can turn Austin Reaves into that clear upgrade that is not just like I wouldn't trade Austin Reaves for like Jimmy Butler, right? As much as, Jimmy Butler, right? He's done more with less, superstar. Like technically Jimmy Butler fits the criteria of what the Lakers have said they'd be willing to trade Austin Reaves for. However, I don't think that makes sense because, yes, it helps you now, but the fit is a bit of a concern. The fit is a bit of an issue. And then also, how long do you have him for? A year or two? Right? If that, like, quality, his injury issues, all that stuff. So, again, I don't want to just trade Austin Reaves. Wouldn't trade him for Zach Lavine. If you had to, right? Like, if Zach Lavine was making $30 million, right? Or had just like one more year or something like that on his deal. Now we're talking. Right now things have changed a little bit. Right? Like circumstances are different. Or if you can get a Kobe White, or something like that. Again, now the circumstances have changed a little bit. Right? But if it's essentially like, instead of Gabe Vincent, we want Austin Reaves, well, good luck. Go find another trade for Zach Lavine. Ruin your draft pick this year that's top 10 protected. Good luck to you. Because Zach Lavine is too good right now. You're going to end up blowing that draft pick. And then you're going to be that team that's just, you had a deal on the table, you could have gotten some guys, right? And instead you decided to be late to the party, right? Like, and look, Chicago's done it already. They should have traded these guys 2 years ago and decided not to, right? So I wouldn't put it past them if they make that mistake with Zach Lavine. Not just that, Rui Hachimura actually has some value on their team for them. D'Lo and Gabe Vincent, they're just like flush with guards, so that doesn't really make sense for them. But D'Lo would be an expiring contract, and then Gabe Vincent only has one more year on his deal. So, again, Chicago could look to flip him to a contender, or they just hold on to him, and then he's expiring contract next year, and then that's going to have value in the trade market. Same thing with Rui. Rui's expiring contract next year. So you'd have $28 million in expiring that if you're Chicago and you're trying to rebuild and you're trying to recoup assets and stuff like that, especially with the new CBA, right? Like, it would make sense. So if you're Chicago, it's not a bad deal for them. They're getting off of Zach Lavine's long-term money and contract. Would you rather pay a guy, 120 over the next few years, or would you rather pay $28 million next year? Right? Like, what would you rather have? But these are decisions that Chicago makes and why they're in the position that they're in. And now they're running the risk of losing their draft pick. Good luck to you. I'm not trading Austin Reaves to go get Zach Lavine. As big as I am on Zach Lavine. And it's not because he ain't better. He's definitely better. Lakers would be much better with Zach Lavine than with Austin Reaves in that third man role. But you don't have to, so you shouldn't, right? Like, if you could buy a car for $1,000, why would you give the guy $5,000? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, more realistic for a car. If you could buy a car for $50,000, why would you give the guy $100,000? Doesn't make any sense. Buy the car for $50,000. Right? Like, that's how I look at it with Zach Lavine, right? Like, if you had to, then sure, of course, yeah, do what you got to do to go get him, but you don't have to, right? Like, and you still need to make other moves, you still need to do other things. If you're going to trade Austin Reaves, you should be trading Austin Reaves to go make those other moves and do those other things. Because now you have Austin Reaves, 2 first, you might be able to go get that, like, real upgrade piece alongside Zach Lavine, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Max Christie, Dalton Connect, right? Like, and those guys, right? Go get a Day'Ron Sharpe, and then, look and see if that big, maybe you could get a Cam Johnson at that point, right? And it's like, now you got Zach Lavine and Cam Johnson. I'd much rather have that. Maybe you get Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith. If you told me you traded Austin Reaves and got Zach Lavine, Cam Johnson, Day'Ron Sharpe, like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, to me, that's a no-brainer at that point. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think trade Austin Reaves for Zach Lavine? Do you think, no, don't trade Austin Reaves for Zach Lavine? Do you think, like, don't trade Austin Reaves for anybody? Again, I just don't believe he's untouchable is the problem that many people have, right? You got the Austin Reaves stands that are like, that believe he's untouchable. He's not untouchable. Like, he's a good value contract. He's better than his contract, without a doubt. No doubt about it. Like, I understand the points that people make, and I never argue those points. But you can't deny and ignore the reality. You can't deny and ignore the facts, right? Like, yes, he's a good player on a great contract, right? But he's still inconsistent. He's not a third option. He's a role player. Like, both can be true, right? And if you can get a better play, if you can... I would rather win a championship than have Austin Reaves on my team, right? If you told me you can either have Austin Reaves or win a championship, right? Would you rather have Austin Reaves? If so, that's silly, right? If Lakers trade Austin Reaves and win the championship this year because they went and got all the pieces they need, are people really going to be like, but we traded Austin Reaves? No, people are going to be like, we just won the championship, baby. Let's go back to back, right? And now you got an offseason where LeBron James could take a discount and go for number 6, like things like that. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.